little tutorial video on how to use a Sprinter 32. I won't go over how to raise and lower. We're assuming you've unhooked it from the truck, you've backed it in at the site. First thing you'd want to do is go over to your LP. We've got a selector switch. So what we do is we turn that tank on. When that tank is empty, then it will show red. If this valve is turned on, it'll automatically siphon out of this. If you shut this off, then it's not going to be able to siphon out of that tank. Over here, inside the door, you can kind of see the little white handle showing that we're going to be able to siphon out of the jug of antifreeze. So if we wanted it to siphon out of the freshwater tank, well, then we just turn that valve to the left. And then that's gonna pull out of the blue line, which is your freshwater tank. Right now, everything is winterized. Okay, here's the docking station. So we've got a couple different setups. Our water hose is gonna go in here, selected at city water. So if you're hooking up at your house or at a hydrant somewhere where there's pressure, we're gonna be able to go right out of there. If we wanted to fill the tank, we're gonna turn our valve to fill so we can put water into the tank. This is the tank flush. What that allows you to do is when we're pulling the valves, it will help rinse out the tank and will help rinse out your hose. Cable and satellite feeds if you decide you want to have any kind of extra cable or satellite. This is a second tank flush because we have two tanks. Underneath here is our valves to be able to drain the gray, drain the black. I'm gonna put the cover on here. It's always good when you open this cover, maybe wear some plastic gloves, but tip it down like this so you don't get sprayed with any kind of little extra water that might have seeped through. Okay, so this is the water heater. This is the anoid rod. Anoid rod prevents electrolysis and takes the brunt of the electrolysis right onto that magnesium rod. And you can see some of the corrosion on there. After maybe a year, maybe you need to pick up a new rod, but it's doing that for a reason, so that the steel line tank doesn't deteriorate. You really don't have to come out here to do anything. All the start and stop for gas or for electric is done inside, but we would need to put the rod in to be able to fill the tank. That would be 1 1/16" socket. I can show you how inside how to do the rest of that. This is the outside compartment for the refrigerator. You shouldn't have to get in there, but if you wanted to open it up and just inspect and make sure there wasn't any cobwebs or bird's nests, things of that nature, you could clean that up. Tire pressure. Just go off of what it tells you to have on the sidewalls of the tire. Here's your other tank. Your gray tank in the back. So we've got power jacks on this one. So assuming you backed into the spot and it's totally level, this would be able to help you stabilize it. It's not going to lift it much more than maybe an inch. Power cable here. That pushes in, turns a little half turn, and there's a collar that helps keep that on nice and tight. This is a little spray port, outside grill. All right, we've got our 2 burner. It's got a quick disconnect here, so we would hook this up right here and right here. The TV does have a strap. I would suggest strapping that before going down the road. Outside, we've got a power awning. This will go out 8 feet. You are able on this awning to lower one side just by tugging down on it a little bit. Maybe go on the Solera website and it'll show you how to just tug on one arm. But bring them back to true center before you roll it up so you don't have any wrinkles. Okay. So inside here we have all of our slide outs. One thing to keep in mind with slide outs when you're operating them is that a cabinet door doesn't get opened when you're trying to move the room in and out. Same thing with going into the back bunk room. Alright, so one of the first things that you're going to do when you turn the LP bottles on is we're going to go over to the range. We'll go over to light. We'll turn on a burner. That helps bleed the lines. When you've shut off your tanks, air gets into those lines and it takes a little bit for it to be bled. Before you try to run your water heater or your furnace or your refrigerator, that'd be the first thing that I would recommend. It makes it a lot quicker. Alright, so behind this wall is where we have the bypass on the water heater. I will make a diagram on the back of that so you'll know which direction for which procedure. Refrigerator, we've got on when we're plugged in. On auto, it would do electric. If the electricity were to get unplugged, kid ran over a cord or the power pole circuit breaker tripped, well then it would just go right over to gas. If you want it just on gas because you know you're going down